Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. And today I'm doing a video on spiritual gaslighting. This is a slightly different video from all the other videos on my channel, but I've been dying to talk about this because as someone who consumes a lot of spiritual content, or actually used to consume would be more precise, I feel like there's so many unhealthy patterns that I've noticed on internet and especially YouTube. And I want to talk about that because I feel like that is becoming a serious problem with the fact that spirituality is becoming very trendy. There's a growing interest in what is spirituality and different topics. I'm not going to waste your time anymore, and we're going to go straight into the topic. So the first thing we need to talk about is obviously what is spiritual gaslighting. So spiritual gaslighting is when the gaslighter is manipulating the other person so they question their truth. It's kind of like they're flipping the situation around on the other person. And that is a very selfish act, obviously. And all of this is happening on the internet, obviously, a lot. But before I go into that, I'm going to give you a couple of examples so we can understand spiritual gaslighting in different settings and in different situations. It's good, I guess, to recognize when this is happening so you just don't get fooled and manipulated by someone else. And I wrote down 2 examples, and we're going to have more examples, but the first 2 examples are going to give you an idea of like an everyday situation when that can happen. So the first example that I wrote down is, how can someone so spiritual not be there for me in a time of need? This is a very selfish and manipulative tactic. So as you know, when you are spiritual, obviously you're perceived as this empathic person who's there to help, and that's not wrong. And I do care about the collective and other people around me and my friends. But to say something like that, and I've heard this from other people when they say that, this is a very manipulative way, because even if you are spiritual, it is not your responsibility to be in service to someone else 24/7. You have the right to say no, and you should never be shamed for that. And another example is something like, someone, let's say, makes you feel uncomfortable, or they do something just that doesn't feel right, and you address that. You, let's say, tell them that, hey, it doesn't feel comfortable. I don't like what you're doing. And what they say as a response to you is something like, this trigger is apparently a sign of wounding. The energy I'm getting is that you need to do some inner work. Selfishness and them being self-absorbed, and them not wanting to admit that they did something wrong, they're now flipping the situation on you. So that's super manipulative. And these are the 2 examples where you can probably see that happen in like real life, everyday life setting. The biggest focus in this video is more so on those people who charge for their services. And most of all, they want more and more people to buy their services. So in order for that to happen, they are manipulating their audience in order to, get them to buy their courses, let's say. And again, don't get me wrong. I'm not against courses or charging for services, because I believe that if you have a gift and if you can add value to the world, you should be getting something back. Nothing in this life is for free, is it? As a creator, if you do have something to share, you definitely can charge for your services, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is when you charge thousands for a course. For real? That is really, really wild. And there's so many people doing this. And believe it or not, but these people have a huge following on YouTube. Just their sales and all the tactics they use are so incredibly well thought through that people just don't notice how they're getting manipulated. The reason why I'm making this video is because we need to recognize these patterns. I don't want you to get fooled, and I don't want to get fooled myself. Because a lot of the times these people sell crazy courses, and those courses have 0 value. Because in the first place, if someone had to manipulate you and they had to work so hard for you to apply for that course and for you to buy it, there's something not clean, most likely. Yeah, it's just really about awareness. We need to be aware of that, because so many people suffer financially after they have made these purchases. So one of the manipulation techniques, a very clear technique, how some spiritual teachers out there manipulate, is one of my friends actually gave me an insight about one of the YouTube channels that does this. So initially what they did is like 2 years ago, they had their classes and courses and whatever, and they were charging like 200 to 300 for a course, I guess. And all of a sudden, they decided to change that to like 4,000 or 5,000 for a course, which is an insane amount of money. That is a lot of money, right? How they explain this drastic change is initially they said that it was a calling from God that they need to appreciate their time and their worth. So that's why God sent them a message that they need to be more appreciative of themselves. That's how they explain charging $5,000 for a course. And the worst is that what they do, and this is not in just spirituality, this is a lot of people do this, is they tell you something like, you're worth it. What you put out there is going to come back to you. You know, if you join this course, you're going to learn how to do it and you will be able to charge the exact same amount afterwards, you know. It's not enough to justify massive amount of money for what? Oh my God. So whenever you purchase a course, you're going to raise your vibration and all that. That's such a nonsense. Oh my goodness. That's why one of my live videos that I've done recently, I mentioned that you need to educate yourself. Spiritual knowledge is just as important as any other form of knowledge you have, because in the next years there's going to be more and more people who will be doing these scams, and if you don't have an inner alarm, if you don't have an inner compass that you trust, you're going to get fooled by this. And I've had situations where I nearly signed to one of those courses, right? But then something in me just started questioning every single thing about that course, and then somehow eventually I was like, this is a scam and I'm not getting involved in that. So not always you will be able to find a review online, and not always it's going to be so obvious, because I'm telling you, those guys out there are some really master manipulators out there, and they don't care if you're giving your last penny. I've heard stories where people are, let's say these coaches and these teachers and gurus online, they tell you to take a loan that you cannot afford. Maybe you have kids in the house, maybe you have sick parents that you need to take care of, but they advise you to take a loan and take the money you don't have in the first place to purchase a course. And ultimately, you're just the one who's in terrible loss and financial crisis. Those people, they don't care. They get the bag, they get the coin, and that's it. And and it's like in spiritual community, we sometimes think that, oh no, that can't happen, They talk about these values and these spiritual ideas, but believe me, that is not an indication that someone is not willing to take your money away. There's too much proof of that. So now, actually, I'm going to look into an example. And this is about a specific YouTube channel. And I'm not going to, again, mention their name. If you know them, that's fine. If you don't, it's fine as well. But anyways, this is a channel that is ultimately scamming their viewers and I guess people who signed their courses and their employees. So I found an article that is actually on Reddit. There was a post, not an article, but a post that someone posted about this couple and what they do. And how basically they manipulate. And this is going to be a perfect example of spiritual gaslighting. What the post says is, people who follow their hearts and think for themselves, they get kicked out. So basically they're talking about, I guess, an online class that they were signed up for. So yeah, this is going to be about that. So they get kicked out, degraded, abused, and told that they are choosing separation from God. Everyone who ever chooses to question anything they say gets removed and told they are separating from God. That is just insane. This is a perfect example of spiritual gaslighting. Yeah, so basically if something is going against their structure, how they want it, you're going to be gaslighted and told that you're in the wrongs. So another crazy thing what they say is they expect their unpaid coaches to sell a certain amount of subscriptions, or else the coach isn't aligned with God and gets removed and their status is lost. I mean, How crazy is that? I don't even have to dive deeper into that, but this is real life example that is happening. And honestly, when I even looked at their channel, I get really weird vibes about those people. So that's what I'm saying. If you're out there on the internet, if you consume a lot of content, you need to work on that intuitive muscle inside of you. It's like you need to exercise it. The more you're going to exercise it, the more you're going to sense BS. And it's going to be straight away, nearly like you look and something is off. A lot of these people, scammers, I personally as well discovered one scammer. He has millions, I think, of followers. He was over 1 million followers anyways. He is a guru and he does have a lot of spiritual knowledge. Like, he is a knowledgeable dude. But I mean, what he does and how much he charges for his courses is insane. It's nowhere near acceptable. There's nothing you can do. You can't stop these people. What you can do is just don't buy their courses. Don't watch their channel, whatever. It's just, you have to be so careful of what you choose to consume these days because it's so easy to create illusion. As I was doing this video, I was thinking, why does that happen? Why do we get manipulated by people like that? And honestly, it sounds harsh, but I have to say, we sometimes feel desperate. We feel desperate for love. We seek understanding. When we seek acceptance, we want to be accepted in a group. We want to be understood. And those people, when they take the camera, they come across as they understand what you're going through. I know what you're going through, you know. They give you this advice and it makes so much sense. And then later on, what they do is they sell you their course, promising you the world, and you know what? And if it doesn't work, let's say sometimes people are like, wait a second, this didn't work. Why did I buy this course? You promised me this and I never got that. What they do then instead is they tell you that, well, that is your fault then. Apparently you did something wrong. Maybe you didn't have the right mindset. So you need to buy another course of mine to change your mindset. So there's always going to be another thing that they're going to throw at you and flip the words so that you feel like you're the crazy one or you're the one who needs inner healing and all of that. It's just so bad. But ultimately, yes, they are pushing the buttons. They know that people are desperate. Especially one thing I've noticed is crazy is this whole twin flame frenzy, which is another video, I guess. I'm not going to go into the whole rant about that, but so many people are looking for their twin flame and glorifying this whole idea of twin flame relationship, but they are not ready to deal with their baggage first. Everybody wants to be loved. They want to be accepted. They want to be with someone divine. But what about the self-work? What about the inner healing first? One of the channels, they're doing this. They are charging crazy amount of money for a course. And they're talking a lot about this twin flame stuff. And they claim to be twin flames or whatever. There's so many people like that. They claim to be twin flames. But the whole thing is like, we think that there's going to be some person who's going to come into our life and fix our lives. And that's why these scammers online, they're getting the coin because they know what is the vulnerable aspect of people. One way how they get so lucky with this, how they get so much money from people, is they know the vulnerable points. They know that people are looking for twin flames because we all want love. I mean, it's not hard to tell that they're trying to sell you something. If someone is genuinely out there to help other people, and if they're not there to just collect all the money that there is, the course is going to be there. Of course, they're going to make an announcement and they're going to talk about the benefits and all that. But when it goes into a complete, like, forceful tactics, when they're telling you that without this course, you know, you're going to be missing out on so much, that without this course, you're going to be lost, or this is the course you need in order to have a great life. Just think about it. Just think about it. How not legit that sounds. You don't have to be a genius to figure out that they're scamming you. So that, I think, was everything for today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up and I'll see you in my next videos. Bye.